Clicking now. All right, that's recording away there. All right, Barry John, thanks a million, boy, for coming on. How are you keeping?
No bother, bye. Good, and yourself?
Yeah, we can't complain. We'll start off first anyway with just the Cork game. Did you watch it? Where did you watch it? First of all, and what did you make of it?
I did. I watched it at home. I suppose the first 15 minutes looked like a bit of last year, but it didn't last long. Probably the water break. Cork probably didn't need the water break. And after that, really, even though Kerry only within 5 points up at halftime, it looked like it was dead and buried at that stage.
Yeah, there wasn't really a kick in Cork then for the rest of the game, was there?
No, I think that they blew the head gasket really, but it looks good. I know it's easier said than done when you're watching it, but Kerry kept their foot in their throat and they didn't hold up. Like, they brought on the subs and they got 4 or 5 points from the subs and they just kicked on, where other years maybe they'd have a little fight back, but not this time, no. The lads were determined enough to make amends for last year by the looks of it.
I know you can kind of only play what's in front of you, but there was no test.
No. And to be honest, looking back at the league games, besides the Dublin game that they came back and drew, there hasn't been much of a test either. That's the only thing. There's 2 ways to that. It's good to get fellas' confidence going and it's good to get the morale of the group, but you probably do need a test when you're coming into the business end, where Tyrone will be coming now in 2 weeks.
Yeah. I suppose we'd have to have a little chat about Paddy Clifford and his performance again. How were you impressed with him?
To be honest, Paddy's kind of just where Paddy left off with East Kerry. He's kind of continued on and kept it at that level. I suppose people probably thought that was his level at club football, but he's progressed it on and he's been a massive asset. I think he's freed up the likes of David and Shawnee as well. So that's huge. Like, so when your two main backs have to mark David and Shawnee in previous years, now you have to look at it, watch another fella. So someone, as you say, is getting a weaker back, so it frees up someone else. You know.
He can do it all, though, can't he?
Oh, he can. He's playing. He's in the form of his life. To be fair, to me, from what I've seen, I haven't seen a few other games, but like he's definitely top 5 for Player of the Year anywhere in and around there. Now saying that, it's really judged, I suppose, semi-final and mostly final. Like, you would be going for an All-Star for a final or Player of the Year, and you have a poor performance, you might even get an All-Star. Yeah. But so far, so good anyway. So far, so good.
Yeah. Clifford will be going to the next game. David, I suppose, rightly or wrongly, he might think that he's something to prove because he had a poor game against Cork, and that might be a bad way to have him going into a Tyrone game, I suppose.
No, of course not. No, fire in the belly. No, even as brothers and even at club level, when you're the star and the younger brother comes on, of course you're going to be happy for him, but you still have that ego inside you where you still want to be the best. And I know the 2 boys playing golf even together, they'd be hopping off each other like so, but it's good competition for them. It's good competition for them. I remember his father told me years ago, 3 or 4 years ago, after one of the Kerry functions, and I was saying to him, geez, David was very good, and he turned around to me and I'll never forget, and he goes, and Paddy, and I was wondering, who's Paddy? Well, Paddy's my other young fella. He's a year or 2 older than him. And I goes, all right, I've never seen him play. No, he's better than David. I was like, all right. I suppose I can't agree to disagree at the moment, I suppose. But
at the time you thought your man was mad. Yeah. Keane as well has, like, I won't say he's improved, but he's kind of come back to, he's kind of got his confidence back a little bit, even though he's further out from the goal. He's looking a bit more dangerous. He's looking a bit more comfortable, giving them something to think about, the opposition backs.
Yeah, like, to be fair, at the start when I seen him out in the wing, I remember when we used to even be doing the beep tests, he was still, for the inside line, he was still always the fittest, but it's a different role. It's definitely the hardest role nowadays. In the last 4 or 5 years, the way the game has changed. But I feel like it's worked in his favour in ways. He was in and out. He was taken off after 45 minutes in the league. Probably not so prolific as he would have been other years. To me, he's probably Kerry's best forward the last 10 years. And the Tyrone game, then he was wing forward, and I know that was a walkover, but he got 2 goals, probably got his confidence up. And since they started the Munster Championship, he's been close to the goal. And I think He's got that old swagger back now, and he's never going to lose that. Look, he's in front of the goal. He's going 9 times out of 10. He's going to get that for you. And I think them all rotating now is giving them a good asset. For before Paul was inside, it's man on man. Someone's marking him. Now Paddy could drift in, drift out. Shawnee can drift in, David. So like as a forward line, it's going to be tough for backs to try and do man on man, because if you have a corner back there for Tyrone who only knows corner back and they're pulling him out, he's out of his comfort zone. So rotating is massive going forward for Kerry in the forward line anyway, I think.
Yeah, we seem to have kind of clicked into that little groove at the moment, with kind of the rotating of the forwards, some of them staying out, some of them coming in, but every man has a job. And even Darren Moynihan now, who's doing great all year, but I picked up a bit of an injury. I'm not even 100% sure if he'll be back for the Tyrone game. I don't know, but he was doing a great job. But there's other lads as well that were able to fill the space and perform the same sort of a role that he was performing.
Look, from hearsay anyway, I don't think he'll probably get game time till the end of the year. I think he hurt his foot that he did previously, was last year. But no, look, there's loads of fellas chomping on the bit. I've been there myself for Killian Spillane coming on kicking 2 or 3, and you don't get your starting spot. But the way he has to look at it is, if he wants to start, he might get his 40 minutes. He might get your 1 or 2 points, playing well or not playing well. He's going to be probably the first to be taken off. So maybe he needs to put his mindset in. Okay, I'm definitely going to get a half an hour here at the end when the game is in the melting pot, which is, I don't know, I prefer the pressure at the end than the start, but everyone's different. He deserves his starting position, but I think Kerry need finishers to finish off when they get to like the likes of Tyrone and Dublin now. When it comes down to the end, the games are going to be closer, and I think he could be the deciding factor of getting them over the line.
Yeah, look, I mean, it's nice to start, of course, walk around the pitch and all that sort of stuff and get into the game. But the role now these days that the full squad is playing, it's genuinely the subs coming on, they genuinely have just as much of a role to play as the guys who are starting.
Oh, 100%. Like, I presume by the looks of it anyway, Kerry are buying into it when I was there. Like, whoever's starting, you're getting the jersey on merit and you leave it all out there. Don't be waiting for the second half, or just go blow the head gasket and there's fellas chomping at the bit. And that's the only way it's going to work, or you're going to win something. Because if you're sticking with fellas and they're not playing so well, and we'll give them another 10 minutes, the fella who's on form that is not getting the run, then that can filter down into the team, and that's where he can get, he's starting from, say, previous years what he's done. But this year, to be fair, I think it's whoever's playing well is playing well. Your 40 minutes is up, next fella's coming in, and that's, you know what, it's honesty in a group as well, and I think that gets the best out of the group.
Yeah, so it's Tyrone. So next, I think there'll be 24,000 people in Croke Park. Would you have any interest in going, or would you stay at home and watch it?
No, I'll go. To be honest, I prefer watching games even at home, but I'll bring the small fella out to this. He hasn't been up, so hopefully we'll try.
Will you be able to start a ticket? Are you sure you'll be able to start an old ticket?
We'll figure out something. I'm owed a few favours.
Yeah.
No, I'll try to get it. I'll try to get to the Dublin and Mayo game, and might stay overnight and then go to the Kerry game on the Sunday.
Yeah,
that's the plan anyway.
Yeah, that's be nice. And if you had to make some sort of a prediction for the Tyrone game?
It's a tough one, to be honest. Like, I definitely don't think it's going to be. I definitely don't think it's going to be the decider they had in the league, where it was just all open and they left everything. They left the back door open. There was no tackles put in. I think Tyrone will learn a lot from it. I think they're going to be more tested coming through Ulster. But I still think Kerry are going to have enough, because they barely got through Donegal, and Michael Murphy was probably gone off the field for the bones of 40-45 minutes. So they lost their best player and they were down to 14 men, and they barely got over the line. Monaghan the last day, Tyrone were very good in the first half. Monaghan kicked a lot of wides that did. Yeah. There were too many there were percentage shots for them that you think they'd take. And I don't know, it was in the second half, Monaghan hit the post 4 times, the same post, and got nothing out of it. It was crazy, yeah. It was a close game, though. It was only a point in it. So, like, if Tyrone have scrubbed through, but look, it's knockout. They're going to take it. But there were 2 games where Donegal and Monaghan easily could have won. is the other side of it. I'm looking forward to the matchups. That's my favourite part of it, to be honest. That's why I'm actually probably looking forward to going to the game. I'm looking forward to the matchups. I think Tyrone, if they go defensively, they have 4 or 5 good matchups for the Kerry forwards. And I think
which ones
Tyrone,
do you think? Who do you think will be on? For example, two Cliffords and Keane, and
I'm not. If I was Kerry anyway, I'd be pulling fellas out of the place. So, for example, if Niall McNamee is going to be going in on Clifford, or I'd be pulling him out of his comfort zone. Just go around the D a little bit. He likes to be in the full back line. I say someone like Myler or McGeary is going to pick up Paddy Clifford and just do a man-marking job and play no ball, just looking at him, hands on. Now, Paddy has been getting that the last few games, but I don't think that those players were up to that level, if that makes sense. I think Conor Myler now, to be fair, he did it on Fenton maybe in 18, and he did it till they were in the game, and when their game ran out, he couldn't do no more. I suppose they're only chasing it. Shawnee O'Shea, you're looking at maybe a Padraig Hampsey, you have a Peter Hart. Like, there's a lot of good players there that can. They're footballers, like.
Yeah.
And if they have help from 2 of the big midfielders, I don't know. That's to be honest, I hope Kerry get a game. I hope Kerry, of course, pull through.
The intensity will definitely be up a level.
Yeah, it will. And I think, like, for instance, if Tyrone have a full outfit up front, you're going to have the likes of Bradley, McCurry, McKenna, McShane, Canavan. Like, they can play.
Yeah,
they can play.
And who would you put on McCurry? Tom?
Yeah, I'd put Tom on him. Tom has got a nice few scores in the last few games. He's been attacking, so I don't know what way. I think if they did put Tom on him, I think Tyrone would nearly change it, because they'd probably want the likes of a McGeary, if he's wing forward, or someone to track that runner. So I say Breen Begley, McShane, maybe Foley. McKenna might go on Foley. He'd suit the 2 of them. I don't know. There was a lot of space the last day. I played with Bradley in Boston. He's very jinky. If there's space there, he'll get away. Like, so I think the matchups on both sides are very similar. And I hope I'm wrong, but I think the midfield aspect, I don't think there's going to be much caught. I think both keepers are just going to lamp it long or else go short. I don't think they're going to be trying picking out, because the way both teams are going to set up. Tyrone are probably trying to get that short kick on and work that ball up. They don't want to be kicking out to David Moore.
Yeah, so it'll probably be Moore and Diarmid if he's
I'm not
ready
sure
to go
where Diarmid's at with that
his
injury.
little knock.
I haven't heard. If it's only a knock, yeah, you might see Dave and Jack Barry and Diarmid being forward.
Yeah,
playing as a third midfielder, dropping back maybe.
Yeah, and then Tyrone are going to have to worry about Gavin White as well, and whoever's on the other wing, whether it's Breen or Murphy, and they're causing serious problems. Those guys for every set of defence the last time, coming from deep the whole time, taking the ball from deep, breaking the lines. White has been unbelievable. Yeah,
like I've seen a few clips there. I don't know, they came up there on one of Joe.he a while back. The pace of Conor McKenna with the Aussie rules. So I was just thinking there, would they might spoil him and say, look, you're marking Gavin White, and I probably actually forgot. Tyrone's probably best forward at the moment, Matty Donnelly. So there's 6 unbelievable forwards.
Yeah.
So like we can say all the Gavin Whites, the Paul Murphys, who are outstanding, but Tyrone are a cocky bunch. They know they can play as well, you know, and the matchups, if anyone asks me, it's just the matchups are very good. I'm nearly going to write them down myself to see what would I do and see what way it plans out then, you know, that kind of way.
And when you're going to the game as well, you're looking down the other end of the field, you can see what's going on, whereas on the TV you're very restricted as to what you can see. You can't see a lot of stuff going on.
No, I think both teams, after Kerry would be very confident going in after what they did to them last time, but I think Tyrone are after getting a few wins under their belt. They tried something, it didn't work. Now they're going to try a bit of this, and look, they haven't beaten Kerry in a few years, so you know, maybe it's time for them now. They think it's their time. They've got their Aussie rules player back. They've got all their forwards that kind of went away, came back. McShane was injured, so no, like you've Tiernan McCann to come back in, where Richie Donnelly, 2 of them were COVID. I think was there something related there. So both teams, very strong squads. Very, very strong squads. I just think Kerry might be more clinical is all.
Yeah. And then after that, then you'd hope that it's us in Dublin and that we're able to make amends. Someone's going to have to do it anyway, and you have a feeling that if it's not us,
yeah, I give Mayo a chance. I give Mayo a small chance. I give Mayo a small chance. Yeah, I think they could be a bit of a banana skin there. Killian O'Connor's a massive loss. I think if Dublin can stay in, or if Mayo can stay in the game and they can get Aidan O'Shea in and out of the full forward line where he can cause a bit of trouble, if they had 2 or 3 of them, sure, it'd be great. But I don't know what's his best position. He does very well midfield. He does very well in the 40. He does very well full forward. I just think I didn't see the Kildare game, but from the team that lined out, that back line isn't as strong as they used. So even if you threw him in there the first 15 minutes and said, look, we'll lamp this in and see what it is, and then we're in the game, or we could be up, bring him back out, filter him back out just to get on ball, slow down the game. Do you know that kind of way?
Yeah. I don't want to get in too deep into it now, but Dublin without Cluxton, it's been played down. It actually hasn't been. It got a lot of coverage there for a while, but Dublin have kind of, if it's possible to be the All-Ireland champions and come in underneath the radar, they've kind of done it a little bit this year. Yeah,
they have. Like they comprehensively haven't won like their league games or their championship games by a lot. They've kind of actually won their games. Like Kerry kind of used winning once. They're 8 points, 9 points.
Which, by the way, that used to be a massive win once upon a time. If you beat a team by 8 or 9 points in championship, or you got a hiding, Kerry just beat Cork by 22. You'd never got that years ago.
I'd be hiding under a rock, and if it was 52 points, I wouldn't be seen.
You couldn't go downtown for a week.
Cluxton, like the day had to come. There's no doubt he'd still be able to do what he could do. But people have to realise is that this young fella in goals now has been under him the last probably 5 or 6 years. He hasn't been in the heat of the battle, which everyone at some stage has to be thrown in there.
Yeah.
He had a good run with Ballymun last year. He's got a few league games under his belt. Of course, the Cluxton effect. We know from playing so long, you do so much homework on him. You say, we get him here. You'll catch him for a goal, and then he'll get the 4 next passes out, and he could set up the 1-3. It's just like that. I think Kerry got joy out of Dublin in the league this year. Like it was very non-Dublin, taking them short kickouts and being turned over and not kicking them to say the fellas that are more comfortable coming out with the ball. So maybe you could say Kerry are looking at it, Jesus, if we put that press on, we can turn over if we meet Dublin. But then the other side of it, Dublin probably learned a lot. We need to stay away from this. Cluxton could do it. We need to go to plan B with against Kerry if we're doing that. Something like that. Do you know that kind of way?
Yeah. Just to go quickly back to the Kildare Dublin game, just one thing about that goal from Daniel Flynn. When he got the ball there up the side, he steamrolled Merchant. He stuck it into the side netting. One of the best goals I've seen in ages.
Yeah, I think, to be honest, though, I think there's not many like him either. I think he's a freak athlete. He got a point there, was it 3 or 4 years ago? He took John Small down the sideline, and he was nearly in the boar's head when he shot. Split the post. It wasn't
I'll have to tag Hugh on that one.
At all. It wasn't done at all. But no,
he kicked the ball down to Hugh below the boar's head.
Yeah, he was out the back, but no, he's serious athlete, and I think his fundamental skills have come on a load. Yeah. But no, like he got a goal. I remember off Philly in a league game before as well, top corner stanchion. He has that in him. I don't think we have runners that explosive like that. But saying that, the game was it was a dead game, if that makes sense. Like Dublin could have been up 5 or 6 points, but they were playing around with it.
Yeah.
So early, you know. So they need to be tested too.
Yeah.
Like hopefully Mayo, they'll be looking for a test. I'm sure Desi Farrell is looking at the Kerry results and saying, Jesus, we need to put a bit of pressure on to show that we're not going away, or else do they want to play under the radar, pretend that we're only tipping away, we're not the same team. And then when it comes to it, they have their army lined up to go out and go at Kerry. Look, no one knows.
Yeah, well, they definitely haven't got the same strength and depth anyway that they used to have. But we must still do the business. They must still be knocked off the perch. So it's all talk until it's done. Like.
Yeah, and they have matchups too. If you go through the Dublin backs and you go through and the Kerry backs. There's good matchups between both sides, and two midfields are very strong. So they'd be very close in comparing than say the Mayo and Dublin and say Tyrone and Kerry. Does like you'll have Finton and Moore, and you'll have probably McCarthy and James, Jack Barry. You know, it's more closer. But like it's only a kick of a ball. It's only a kick of a ball between them the last few years. Kerry and Dublin.
That's all.
You know.
We'll go back there for a minute. We'll leave the recent stuff. We'll go back to you played minor, Kerry, 2008.
Yeah.
Do you remember the first? Do you remember being told you were on the minor team, or who told you? Was it a phone call, or was it someone from the club ringing you? Or?
It was a phone call. It was a phone call or a text back then. We would have been. We would have a lot of football with the club at the time. We were in Division 1, so we were competing for most of the county leagues and the county championships, and then we were competing in the Kearney Bree as well. We lost to the Sim in the Kearney Bree. So a lot of those players from the Green and the Sim Killarney, who we met in the final, would have been the minor team. So we were all kind of all in one. John Kennedy was over us at the time.
Oh, yeah.
We have a good story. I didn't mean to tell the story now, but I actually met Keane Tobin yesterday. I was golfing with him. He would have been in the other corner. He's from Spa. Yeah. It was myself, him, and Barry John Welch. Tommy's brother was full forward. He was the Clifford now of our era. But he just brought up the story last. I remember we played. Who did we play first? We played Clare. We beat Clare or whatever, and we played Cork then, and Cork were favourites in the semi-final. We got over Cork. I remember we played Tip in the final, and they drew with us. I think the last kick of the game, Barry John Welch kicked the sideline off the ground with his bad leg. Last kick of the game. Ridiculous. I've never, Brian Sheehan stuff, but bad leg. Imagine Brian Sheehan doing his left now.
Was Barry John Welch taking the 45s and then free kicks off the ground for the team?
Yeah, at the time, yeah. But this was his bad leg, so stuck to the sideline, got fouled out there. So I was actually on the freeze and I was taken off, so I wouldn't even reach the goal off my hands. Never mind him kicking it with his bad leg, straight over the black spot. So we had a meeting after anyway, and Paddy Cray would have been a selector, but he was Austin Stack, so he was kind of the Tralee representative. And sure, the boy, 17 or 18, had I didn't have tattoos then, no, but I'd have the haircut. Would have the old jewellery.
You still had the attitude, like.
I still had the attitude, yeah. So Paddy came up to myself and Keane Tobin, and he goes, lads, look, it was a tough day today at the office, blah, blah. We'll regroup, and that was fine. So I say the Thursday, we met up the Thursday or the Tuesday, whatever it was, and he came over to me, put his hand around me, going to the restroom. He goes, Barry John, I'm telling you now, if you lose the jewellery now and the earrings, you'll start the Munster final. I was like, all right, Paddy. Anyway. So I came in Thursday and I was thinking, I goes, if he's telling me now to lose that just to get a game, I said, I was more or less saying, you can, you know what, fuck off. So I came in the Thursday anyway. The jewellery was still on, the earrings still on, and I was sitting on my hole for the Munster final. But we got the win anyway. But Keane Tobin enjoyed that one. He said I still haven't changed a bit. So that was a good little story from back then. If I took him off, I would have been starting, but stuck to myself. Haven't changed since.
And then you played under 21 then as well. Yeah,
I actually played senior before 21. We got a run with Stranraer. We won the club championship, and I think so Kerry or Field Rangers maybe won the championship. So we represented Kerry, and the 2008, say I was a minor, we lost the county championship in a replay to make Kerry. Jack O'Connor was over us, and then Jack went in 2009 with Kerry, and we got a run then with Stranraer in 2009 to that Munster final, and we actually lost last kick of the game to Kilmurray or Bricken, and I had a good run in that. So I went from not in and out of the minors, starting one game, not starting the next, went back to the club. So that was a year kind of I had nothing, just Stranraer, and had a good run and came on leaps and bounds. And I remember Mike Quirk said to me one day, he goes, man, if you keep playing like this, you're going to be called into the setup. And I was like, yeah, I'm not far off the 21s, I said. He goes, no, he goes, the seniors. And I was like, will you fuck off? I goes, I was only about 10 stone. I was barely got 19.
Yeah.
And remember Jack then, there was open of Strand Road football field, and Jack gave me rang me and said, young Keane, will you come around there or short a few numbers? We play the IT. I said, no bother. A JB Spillane, actually, from Castle Gregory, at the time, he was actually a very good footballer, very good underage. He got sick or something, or they get injured in the warm-up, so Jack said I was starting, so he threw me in. I don't know, I got about 2-3, but I missed, I say 6 goal chances in the first half.
When was that? A January game? One of those games they have in
January?
Yeah,
one of those games. McGrath Cup.
McGrath Cup. Yeah, sorry.
So the next day we had to play again. But then it was actually the Kerry team. Like, this was only a Kerry mock team, kind of a B team.
Yeah.
And I think it was only myself and maybe someone else was brought and came on and did well. And then just the league I came on against Dublin. We lost by a point, I think. I came on for about 10 minutes, and then I came on the week after against
That was a
Cork.
full forward line now when you were coming on 2010. That would have been Gooch, Donaghy, Sheehan, Declan.
On that day actually, because it was Donaghy was full, Declan was one corner, and actually Barry Jim Welch was the other corner. And the Gooch and the Crokes boys weren't around. They were probably playing the Munster after the county championship.
Okay, yeah.
But I got 10 minutes anyway, and then the following week, happy out just being there, still 19 years of age, and Jack brought me on a half time against Cork, full house up in Parky Arena, and I ended up kicking 4 points. I say we lost, but it was a massive curve in my career. Just to come in to even get game time to actually nearly winning the game, which was brilliant. And I suppose it just went from there. I was on the senior team, and I went to train on Tuesday night, and I still wasn't calling to the 21s. And then by the Thursday, I think I got a phone call saying, would you like to come into the 21s? So I went back to the 21s then.
Do you remember the first training that you went in with the senior team?
Yeah, the first
was in Killarney.
The first training was Killarney. Yeah, geez, I'll never forget. I was very nervous and going, I think I actually went by myself. And it's nothing worse going in, and Batty, a good friend of mine, Batty was over everything at the time, and had me set up, of course, told me, go over there and sit down. That seat's free. I look after you. So you sit down, and sure, probably was Tomas O'Shea's seat or someone.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
They're like, oh my God. That was great. But do you know what? I broke the ice with most of it. And after you bringing that up, I have a good one. I won't name any players now, but the following Wednesday, there was a fella called what was his name? Jimmy. It was a Jimmy O'Mahony. There was a gym down in Mitchell's Crescent, just down the road from Aslack Park. So all the legends back in the day, Jimmy Deanahan, John O'Keefe, they all used to go out there, pure raw powerlifting.
All right.
And so I was in, and I met Jimmy one day, and he said, come in and do a session there someday. Come in and do a session. I was like, no problem. Like, I was into the weights. Like, I goes, yeah, no bother, I'll come in. So we did a session anyway, and he was saying, how's the football going, whatever. So I was coming out anyway, and where Mitchell's Crescent is, if you keep going forward, I suppose we call it the bull ring at the front of Austin Stack Park.
Yeah.
And there was two or three of the boys travellers that I used to play against underage. So they were all like, oh, you're with Kerry now, and blah blah all that. And I goes, yeah. So I was just cut talk them before I got to the car. And one of them came around on a Shetland pony and a cart. So I said, what's the crack, whatever. And the boys were having a laugh. Or you wouldn't know, he was just tall. And my grandfather, my father's father used to have Shetlands down the back, like when we were younger. So I was spieling out everything to my man. He was like, how do you know all about this? Yeah. But the funny story is, I came out of the gym and it was a scorching day, and I'd only a t-shirt on and I'd a vest underneath. So imagine one of these vests now.
Yeah.
So I came out of the car with the vest on, and I goes, the boys were hopping ball then, and a few people came out, best of luck the weekend or whatever. And he was like, you wouldn't be able to give that a go at all. So I was like, my ego kind of came out then. I said, go on, give me the rope there. So I said I'd only bring her out and I wouldn't go on the main road, and I'd just come back and turn it just to show him. But anyway, so whatever happened was there was too much traffic, and the pony just wasn't having it anyway, whatever I was doing. Just wasn't happening. So he went up, took a left. So I got him to turn around, and on the way back down, I was just trotting away, and I could see the boys coming. I was like, perfect, I'll pull in here now, no one will see me. And one of the management that I met on Tuesday night was passing me in the car on the back of a Shetland pony with a vest on. So off I went. I won't say who. Off I went, got off it, and I just had the phone in my hand for the rest of the evening, just waiting for the text. No training Thursday night. But no, we got a good kick out of it the next day. We got a good kick out of it. But that was one of the good stories of back in the day. That was a long time ago now. That was 2010, I say.
Yeah.
But no, you couldn't write it.
You had Jack first for the first few years at senior, and then you had Eamon.
Then Eamon, yeah.
So you had Jack for 10, 11 and 12, was it?
Jack 10, 11, 12, yeah, and Eamon then 13 to...
What was the difference between Jack and Eamon?
They were quite, to be honest, the Eamon was actually there at the time with Jack as a selector. So I suppose you would say he got trained up. I suppose Jack was with Closh Skellig at the time. They had the same. They had a lot of things in comparison, and then other things different. I think Jack had been a bit more old school. The talent there at that time was ridiculous. Remember the forward line was of like this is the time where Donica Welsh was barely breaking in. Like he was coming in and out of the team.
Yeah.
And you Declan centre, you Galley wing, Gooch, Donaghy, Brian Sheehan, Darren Sullivan, ridiculous talent. And I'm just there saying, am I coming on for one of these? You know, at 19 years of age, I was like, where am I going to fit in? But no, Jack was good. After the 2009, for that maybe 10, 11, 12, we probably should have got more out of it. Lost to Down in 2010, shouldn't have happened. Like we beat Cork in the replay, Dublin in 11, and then Donegal in 12. Was a disaster. They were coming, but we just got caught in the hop as well. Eamon came in 13. I played a few league games, and he was actually trying out nearly a new team. Even though I was still only 22, I was there probably the most, and no, I wasn't performing. And he let me go. Went away for the summer.
Boston.
Best thing ever happened to me. Got my confidence back and went back to the club. We played 3 finals: county final, town championship final, town league final. Got man of the match in 3 of them. I was back to my 70-game year ring. Goes, would you like to come back in? And actually, when I got dropped, I actually gave up the drink. So when I went to America, I actually just gave up the drink as well. Mm-hmm. So I don't think I actually drank till we won the All-Ireland that year. So I was actually off it for a year and a half till the time I got dropped till we won it.
It was to keep up the arse you needed.
Yeah, do you know what? To be honest, and I can see it happening a lot, and it's happened to other people. I was then so young. I probably idolized the boys too much, even when we were in competition. Yeah. You know, I probably too much respect for them. Where I should you've always respect, but I should have been probably back to myself more at times. I was probably just wanted to have the crack. Where looking back, it was more serious than I probably thought, if that makes sense. But it was the best thing to happen to me, I suppose.
But at that age as well, going in and training with the likes of those guys, you'd have to have a little bit of imposter syndrome in the sense that you think that, geez, what am I doing inside here with Gooch and Declan O'Sullivan and 100%. The boys?
100%. No, it's funny looking back. I remember when I filling out my 2012 player profile for one of the under 21 games, your favorite players or whatever was Gooch and Donaghy, and then I went to play with him. And now looking back 10 years on, I'd be nearly best friends with the two of them, in contact with them every day. So I went from idolizing them to playing with them to actually being very good friends with them, which is, I don't know, that's the GA, I suppose. Very similar to Mark Roche. I went from him teaching me to managing me in school to playing against him when I was still in school, having a fight with him, and he had to teach me the next morning at 9 o'clock.
So was that in training? Was that in the trainings?
I came on when I was 16 against Gaeltacht in the county final. Small, quick story, I won't keep it long. Mark went down the end line, and I idolised Mark since I was 12 years of age. I thought he was the most skillful back. I thought he was a forward playing as a back. And I just knew the dummy solo was coming. Did the dummy solo, took the ball off him. It was kind of there. I was trying to get away. He pulled me, and I kind of swung back, and I got a slap. And I don't know, 2 of us got booked. But Mr. Crone and our prefabs in school would have been together, so you'd have to go through Mark's to get to his. It was just a door in between. And that Monday we had Mark, and Mr. Cronin came in and said we're going to swap the two classes for the day, lads, or for the 45 minutes. And Mark went into the other class. That's what happened the day before. But good times.
So yeah, then 2014, obviously deadly year, and you know, the final of that was, I suppose, the culmination of all that hard work and getting you around Ireland.
Yeah, geez, look, there was when I was out of the loop. I remember Mom used to be saying, you know, oh, you'll get back in or whatever, and I just kept saying to her, I was like, I will, like, and she kind of probably, I don't know, did she lose hope because I went to Boston or whatever, and I just kept saying to her, I goes, don't worry, whatever, blah blah blah. But it was funny, like as the season went on, I kept reminding her, I goes, we're only 3 games away, 2 games away, 1 game away, and no, it was funny because when I went over to Boston, there was a fella from Tralee, Brian Kennedy, his name is. He lives in Boston probably most of his life, but his dad lives down the road from me. But he brought me over to his club, and we actually lost. We lost the semi-final in Boston. I don't know, have you ever been over? But they take it as serious as football back here. It goes on for maybe 2 months of the year, and whoever wins then has the bragging rights for 10 months. It's a small little town, loads of clubs. And no, I did well, and I remember going away. He dropped me to the airport, and he just said to me, I'll see you next year. And I said, I don't know, I don't think it was cockiness. I think I just knew I was back to myself. I goes, you'll see me next year, right? But it'll be in Croke Park at this time, because it was coming up to the All-Ireland final. And we just left to laugh at it. And I remember we beat Mayo in the semi-final, and got into the dressing room, got the phone, rang him straight away. He picked up, and I said, I have the 2 tickets ready for you. So he came over, and after the game, we won. But the minors were on actually before it. And I was walking down. We go down near the subs, and we watch it. And he probably got the 2 best seats in the house for him and his daughter, and they were sitting there. So I just talked to him for a few minutes before I went in. So I knew when we won after. I don't know why it came into my head. I just jumped the fucking stand straight into him, gave him the jersey, and just told him, like, I would have been there more or less if it wasn't for him, because he put his belief back in me, like, when I was probably at my lowest, like being brought in at 19 and then been dropped at 22. So it meant a lot. And no, it was good times. Funniest thing about that story was I was trying to get fucking back in with no jersey, and my man was like, "No, get back into the stand." And I was like pointing over, like, that's my jersey there.
I'm on the team.
Like, no. So he apologized anyway. In the end, my man said, sorry, I just seen it up on the TV there. I goes, you're fine. But no, 14 was brilliant, man. 14 was brilliant.
And you got a holiday then, I suppose?
We did. We got to, where did we go in 14? 14, we went to South Africa for 2 weeks. South Africa for 2 weeks, yeah. Do I have any good story? No, that's PG. I suppose I was actually, when you put up the post that I was coming on, the gooch texted me to tell in one of the stories. So I don't know, it might have been New Year's. We went down to we went Cape Town for I think a week, and then we went to some resort. It was about 2 hours away. I can't remember what it was now, but I had everything. It was like a mini Vegas. I had all the casinos, had all the shops and everything. And so I don't know, did we go the night before or what was it? And I had my own room. I was by myself. Gooch was by himself, but we were next door to each other. So the Gooch was a bit seedy the next day. He said, come in here. There's a soccer game on. We'll watch a bit of soccer, whatever. So we went away, and I think a few of the lads did a trip, maybe a wine tasting or something. And I was like, nah, not that at all. So on the resort, if you can picture, there was loads of monkeys, like just loads of monkeys. They just walk around. If you leave anything lying down, if you leave a phone there, it's gone. If you leave food there, it's gone. They pick up everything. They're like humans. It was hilarious. We couldn't believe it. But anyway, Gooch was dying sick, and he was kind of half conked. And I was calling the monkeys up, like we were up about 3 floors to see could they actually get up. So I had grapes, bananas. So I was throwing him. The Gooch was getting a great kick out of him, videoing him. So the Gooch went for a sleep anyway, and there was just about 20 or 30 of them came from nowhere. Like they could see that there was someone feeding them anyway. I don't know, was I supposed to be feeding them or not? But I'd not left. The last thing I gave was wine gums. There was wine gums up the table from Gooch.
Wine gums.
So there was sugar sachets. there was some chashes there, and the gooch was still asleep anyway. But Anthony Maher, I think, or maybe Killian Young and his missus, whereas Megan or Katrina were next door. And in the hotel rooms, they're in Ireland as well. You have a middle door, it's locked, but if you want to open it, you can walk away the two rooms. And so I took no notice of it, threw out all the sugar, they all came up. So I was sitting back down, the gooch woke up and I'd shown him a few selfies. I was like, oh, close this, I had to close the slide doors, like they were hitting the glass window. I was saying to me, he goes, what the fuck was happening here? So we were there anyway, and I don't know, was there tennis or volleyball on, and all we heard was someone fucking living out a screech, roaring. We were like, what the fuck's after happening here? So we opened the door, I opened the door. There was the monkey, one or two monkeys jumping in, going through one of the girls' knickers, bras, did everything, sugar, off out the window. You couldn't write it, like, you could not write it. Off and going down the pole with clothes. A scream. I tell you, we were in stitches for the whole evening. We just couldn't even talk.
You were blamed anyway.
I was blamed, but they said they were cheap enough all stuff, so I got away with
it. Yeah. You went to the States then as well, though, didn't you?
We did. The year after, we went to 16 or 15. We went to Orlando and Miami. We lost to Dublin that year, but we went to Orlando and Miami for 2 weeks. Better
trip. Better than the first one in 14. I know you won in 14, but taking that aside.
Different. South Africa is one of my favorite spots I've ever been. I love America too. Orlando was unbelievable. We did. We were on the resort of what's it called, Disney or whatever. All those rides. It was class. Then we went down to Miami, and I remember Donny was getting on to me. It was like, man, this basketball course down here, we get a few shots off. I was like, yeah, man, no bother. And there was loads of events. There'd be loads of events organized, like so. You'd agree to something, and then you're going out the door, and some fellas are going surfboard and whatever. You go, sure, I'll go with that. So I say it was coming by the end of the holiday, and we said we'll go down and have a few shots. And I remember Donny got the phone out, and I goes, "Hi, video this here. I'll shoot in half a line." I hit just the butt of the cup, and he goes, "Go on, have one more." And I had one more, and I just swish, and he got it on camera. Actually, I have it somewhere on my phone, but we were just messing around. Most of the boys, if there was 30 of us there, 5 of us, I say, just ever played, 5 or 6 max ever played actually some bit of basketball. So we were going away, and these fellas came up, Americans came up and said, do you want to play 5-on-5? And Donny was kind of like, no, we're all right, Jesus. We'd all have football shorts on and just runners. I go, sure, dinner, he dinner set or something. I goes, look, so we've an hour and a half, 2 hours to dinner. We just give him the game. So we played them anyway. 5 black fellas, ridiculously athleticism. Yeah. Ridiculous. Animals, like they were wearing t-shirts, but their abs were popping out, like, and we were probably in winter mode, like after 2 weeks of fucking food and drink. Yeah. So I don't know, over there, I think it's 1 basket's a point and a 3-pointer's 2. So I think it was up to 14 maybe. I don't know. We lost 14-8. We got to Stride. I think our team, we'd only 5. It was myself, Tommy Walsh, Dave Moore, Donaghy, and Jack Sherwood. So 5 of us would have been handy. Star and Tommy would have played Irish International. Dave was probably just rough. And myself and Jack would have played probably Southwest kind of. That standard when we were in school. So we lost. Another team were on. The boys were giving us a bit of see you later or whatever. And I remember the boys were going back, and I stayed and watched. And I said, I'll just stay and watch. So that was fine. Everyone went. And about 2 or 3 minutes later, I seen Donny coming up his eyes after forgetting his phone or something. And then I seen 2 or 3 more coming. I goes, what are you coming back for? He goes, nah, can't leave it at that. I can't leave it at that. So he roars in at the fellow who was actually over it. He was the king of the courts. There was 3 courts. But he was actually sponsored by And One back in the day, which would have been a big brand. Like it's probably fallen out now a bit.
A little bit, but,
he said he coming back for more. And we were like, yeah. So I think they nearly cancelled that game. They goes, hey, off, boys, off. We give these Irish boys one more whooping like before they go home. So we actually Donny pulled us in and goes, fuck this, we'll set up in stone now. 2v go up front, 3 of us will go back. We'll do a bit of a zone and we'll just tear into them. Like there was 1 ball on the ground, and this on concrete. Now Dave Moore dived for like on concrete. And I don't know, in the end I say we won 14-8, but Donny, he was ridiculous. Like I think I had about 10 rebounds and I was about 5'10", and the next smallest fella was probably 6'4". Yeah. It was the weirdest game ever. But we were coming down anyway, and they were all booing us at the start. All their gang, like, they would have been, I don't know, they could have been 100 watching this, like, and they were all roaring in, messing with us, calling us crackers and everything. Come on, ye crackers, ye Irish boys, whatever. And so I don't know, we actually needed 2 baskets to win it, or else 1 3-pointer. So Donny brought it down and told us all just get out of the way. And all the crowd were, when we started winning, they were all going for us. Then they're like, these boys have never lost the 5 we were playing, like, in years. So Donny pulled up just inside the halfway line, and I was like, he's no plays left, like, he's after grabbing the ball. No one near him. The boys were just about to double team, and he just has a look at everyone. He's just looking at him, and like, leaves it go, and nothing but net. Oh, you couldn't write it. The whole place nearly had him up on his shoulders, and we were just out of there. We were just gone. But no, my man came over and said thanks, and he owned a few nightclubs. And he offered us to go to the VIP after, but sure, it was our last night, and we weren't going getting no sleep the night before. What, a 7-hour journey to New York and then another 6 hours back.
Yeah.
But no, he has it in the book. It's on the
He
start
does,
of the
yeah.
book. It's brilliant. Do you know what? It's not half what you read. It's not even near the experience that was actually there and then, you know.
And I think he said something about it to you afterwards, but he was 100% right that that's the sort of thing you remember, as opposed to, you know, going to some restaurant or going to some other place. You remember it's the stuff like that.
100%. Did, like, since I'm out of the bubble, them things and them stories I told you are nearly as important as the medals.
Yeah.
Because they're like, medals are, Jesus, look, don't get me wrong, the medals are unbelievable as well, but the stories and the crack, that's what you miss the most about when you retire or you're let go or you leave a setup, is just the crack. And then when you see some, like, I met Keane there, he's in Dubai, so I would have met him maybe 2 years ago, but we were telling stories since 2008, like, and still in stitches of, like, the carry on and the crack, like, where, like, you probably didn't even mention the football we played. Do you reckon?
Yeah.
But no, it's unbelievable what the GA can just bring together. And it's taken for granted sometimes, I suppose. But
it is, yeah.
Thankfully, we're back in football mode again.
Yeah. Who's the best? Who would you say is the best footballer you've played football with?
Jesus, that's
not an easy question.
I remember I did a podcast there pre-COVID, I say, with a fella, and he asked me to name my best 15 I ever played with, and he said you have to put yourself in, and I had to put myself in the subs. I just couldn't. Look, I don't think it'll ever change, even if things, whatever Kerry do in my lifetime, but Gooch has to be the GOAT for me. Before I was with Kerry, and after, just like when you go back and just watch stuff.
Yeah.
Like, he was just a genius. I know I played with Clifford in the IT. I played 2 years with him with Kerry. Unbelievable. And he could be as good as Gooch. He could win more than Gooch. But right now, from what I've seen, like, the Gooch, the stature of him, there wasn't much there of him. He was unbelievable over his head. Never seen him miss a one-on-one.
Yeah.
So clinical. What I thought about him was he nearly, before the ball was kicked into him, he knew what the next play was.
Yeah.
I suppose in 2010, when I was actually called in, the under-21s was over, and you were 3 weeks before the Munster Championship, and we played Laois in a friendly in Fitzgerald Stadium. And I remember, I think I was out in Banna with the boys or something, and we were kicking around messing, and I don't know how, but I kicked the rock. I did something anyway. I did awful damage to my foot. I could barely walk, but I was like, I can't go in here and say I'm after kicking fucking stone out on the beach.
Yeah.
So physio looked at it, strapped it up. I said, I'll do the warm-up. So I did the warm-up. Jack, you could see Jack coming with the hands folded, and he came over. Young Keane, what's wrong with you? I goes, I don't know, I'm after twisting my ankle there, I say. And he goes, leave it off. Come over here. I said, we'll rest you up. There's no need for you to play. You're in good form, blah, blah. So that was fine anyway. And I sat down, and I think it was Paddy McQuinn at the time. He was the physio. There was a few of them there. He's actually back in with Kerry again. I'd be good friends with Paddy. He's from Tralee. But I was just sitting down, my leg elevated, and ice on it, and just watching the game. And so 15 minutes went, ball came in, Gooch caught it. They tried a double team, dummy solo over the bar. And I was just saying to myself, that's sick. Watching it. So I kept on going. Another one came in, ball, Goalie came out, dummied him in, and I was just kept saying, he's sick. And I think the third time I said it, Paddy went away from me. I thought he was going someone over and all, and I just like see Paddy talking to Jack, and Jack was looking back kind of at me, and he went away again, and then he came over, and he comes over and young Keane, is the gooch sick? What's wrong with the gooch? And I goes, Paddy's after saying there's something wrong with him, he's sick. And I goes, no. I mean, he's sick, like he's actually just sick, as in football wise. And Jack was looking at Paddy, and Paddy was looking at me, and I was like, no, the tongue and culture.
They didn't have that word yet.
But no, Gooch loves that story now, and I tell him that. But like, he just did things. You're just like, okay, just carry on.
Yeah.
Carry on.
Yeah, there must have been times in trainings and stuff like that, knock around stuff, where you saw him do bits and pieces that you'd never seen fellas do before. You're like,
just even like one-on-ones there we used to, and he just used to tell me, like, because I get a rush of blood and I'd fucking try to lamp, and he'd go, and like it's always stuck by me. And the amount of people I passed on to, they'd be like, Jesus, you're right. But he always just said, point the toe and keep it low. Just point the toe where you want it and keep it low. And like, I used to be blasting, it could be going in or going anywhere, and it composes you so much, something so small. Like, he'd be watching you and you'd be on your left, and he goes, nah, you're leaning too much into it, or you're leaning too back. And you're like, what do you mean? And he just grab you and he just do it, and you're just like that. Changed, man. He's just. And now, to be fair, Declan, if you wanted comparisons, Declan was close. Deco was very close. If there was Premiership and then like fourth top team, second top team, Declan to me was the closest that I played with Cullum. Like Paul was the best at his role. Galvin was unbelievable, of course, but just the two boys were just, when they were on song, unbelievable. Yeah. Declan was just so stubborn and thick. He was unbelievable.
Both legs as well.
Yeah, like looking at the current team, if you were saying what you have, Clifford, your Gooch, Sean O'Shea, your Declan O'Sullivan.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Do you know, very close.
And Paddy's filling the Galvin role, I suppose.
Yeah, he is. Paddy's filling, but Paddy, to be honest, Paddy's doing a bit of everything. To be fair to him, he's working hard. He's getting on ball. He's tackling. He's taking on the man. Like he's probably best. His probably best thing is taking on the man. And he'll throw it off, or he'll take his own score. I'm just looking forward to, and I'm backing him, of course. I'm just looking forward to a Conor Myler or a Merchant or a John Small who doesn't care about the game. I'm just watching you. I'm in your face. I'm going to be hanging off you. I'm going to be borderline yellow card, red card. How are you going to react?
Yeah.
And that'll be his test. I think he's ticked every box. I think he's achieved way more than other people have thought. Maybe not for himself. Maybe he backed himself that he could do this. But for other people, I think he's achieved. He doesn't know much more to Kerry this year. I think he's finished now. Of course, if they want to win it, he needs to keep going. But if you know where I'm coming from.
Yeah. One thing there I forgot to mention to you when we were talking about the 2014 final. I'd say you probably know what it is.
Go on.
Have you been back to Donegal? Have you been back to Donegal since 2014 and kicking the ball off?
I'll tell you a good one. I can tell you two good ones. Yeah. So in 2018, when I was 28, when I was left go to the panel, Donegal got onto me to play in Boston. So I was like, Jesus, this is very good. Yeah. So they're all Donegal. Like they have their own town over in Boston. It's just everyone's from Donegal. So I goes, there's going to be like I wasn't going chasing them to be brought over. They were chasing me, whatever, blah blah. So I was saying to myself, right, they want me, but I need to be ready. There's going to be a bit of flack coming here. So I remember we all got into the dressing room and we're having the crack, and we played a few games, whatever, and one or two of them kind of Joe hopped after me when I got kind of to know him, you fucking kicked that off the cone back then, blah blah. So I remember we were going into the final and we were scraping through. We'd some team. We would have gave, if it was 13 aside back home, we would have gave some teams a game in the county. Yeah. And I remember we were playing Tony Brosnan's team. They were the McInnesby's, they were called, and they were ruthless. They were brilliant. They were ruthless. They had They definitely 6 or 7 that are playing county at the moment. There were a few were playing with Monaghan, Longford. They had a shot of fellas, Derry, Down. So I remember we had a meeting beforehand, and I said I had to say it. And I just go, boys, we have to be ruthless. If we're up 2 or 3 points, whoever's closest to the ball has to kick the fucking thing off the cone. And the whole place, so everyone just looked around, and the whole place just fucking erupted laughing. And it was brilliant. It was brilliant. They were actually the soundest fellas ever, and we got some crack out of it. I'd be telling them I didn't kick it hard enough. I should have kicked it over the hill. And,
I can tell you, I had one fella to the right of me, and I had one fella to the left of me, and the fella to the right of me was screaming, "Yes!" He said, "This is deadly. It's the best thing I've ever seen." Remember? And the other fella was like, Barry John, come on, Barry John. So
I tell you now,
it was like that.
Anyway. As I said to a few of them, if it was the other way around, would Michael Murphy be trying to get his second All-Ireland and kicking the ball off the tee? He'd have it burst. He'd have it eaten.
I think it was, he would, yeah.
But the funny thing is, I took all the flack.
Yeah.
And about for the next 2 years, Cillian O'Connor was doing it for Ballina-Tubber. Everyone was doing it, and there was no word out of it.
Yeah, you started it though, Barry John. You started the trend.
I started the trend, and I'll probably finish it as well.
Yeah, you probably will, yeah. One or two quick questions. How did you yourself and John Egan, I see, you'd be good buddies. You were golfing there a while ago. How did you get, how did that come about?
That question's asked. If I had a euro now for that question, I'd be wealthy enough. No, there's a pitch up the road here from I'm just in Tralee now called Carsalee.
I know it well.
His father passed away in 2012, and they did a memorial kind of football league or camp once a year. And I remember Maureen, his sister, I met her once or twice when we played. Say if we were away in the National League, the Cork, she'd be out. We meet her after. And I would have seen all the clips of John Egan Senior. Like I remember all the hype was Mikey Sheehy, the bomber. I remember Dad saying to me, he goes, this fella was as good as all of them. 5 All-Stars, 6 All-Irelands. So I'm looking at my career, and I'm looking at Paul Geaney's 2 All-Stars and then how good he is, and I'm like, this fella had 5 All-Stars.
Yeah.
So Maureen and Mary, her mother, got on to me. They came in one day and said they were just passing. They asked us, Barry John here, and my Uncle Mikey said, he is, yeah. He goes, would you mind going up, just introducing yourself to the gang above? There's about 100 kids up there, and maybe just, give out the medals they'd love to see or whatever. I said, no problem at all. And I don't know, it was maybe the next day I got a text message of John. I would have heard of John. He was I say at the time he was with someone like Bradford, maybe on loan. I don't know, League 2.
Yeah.
And he goes, appreciate that, looking after, and we just got chatting.
Yeah.
And he texted me then after a game, the quarter final, I remember came on against Galway, kicked 4 points. He goes, you're lifting, whatever, and I kind of got more serious then. And then I text him, I goes, you coming home for the final? And he goes, I am. And I goes, look, I'll be able to get a ticket there. And he goes, I'm sorted, pack the bag, sorted me, whatever. So thought nothing else of it. We run around with the cup, and I just was running down. Himself and his mother, Maureen, made their way down one of the sides anyway. I don't even know Crow Park. I only know the hill on the other side. And they came down. He called me over for a picture, and he gave me a hug, whatever. And he said, make sure you get over to me, boy. And I was like, I thought he meant like Cork. He was like, come on, man, come over for a game. And I was like, you don't have to tell me twice to come over for a game at all. And I said the next day, but I was gatty, and I was texting him. I said, I booked a flight for 2 weeks later for one of his games in Sheffield, and ever since it's just been every day, talking every day.
Yeah, nice one.
He had his own journey. Like he got let go from Sunderland, broke his leg.
Yeah.
Who was there? It was Steve Bruce at the time, came in, cleared the whole deck. Most fellas would probably, there's a few fellas from Tralee over the years that were with Premiership clubs, Everton, Sunderland, and they tried to get back into maybe an academy at the higher level, where he said he just needed to get game time. I say he went down to League 2, and I remember when I went over and watched it, and I just said to him, I goes, I'm not licking arse until. I goes, man, but I nearly played that standard. I goes, it was so bad. I goes, you were so comfortable. And he goes, isn't it a cat? And I was like, man, it's atrocious. And he goes, I'm telling you, man, if I can stay injury free, I'm going all the way. And I was like, going all the way where? And he goes, I'm going straight to the top of the Premiership. And it wasn't cockiness. I knew by him. He's like, we wouldn't even talk about soccer when we're together. It'd be just football. We talk more about football. Yeah. And he backed himself, man, and they got 2 years up there.
Yeah, he's fine now, isn't he?
Top 7, you know. So, and you need luck too. He knows that. It's in everything, football as well. You need luck in any day, in anything in life. You need luck. But
I got a message. I got a message from a fella in Tralee. I won't tell you his name. Well, I probably won't know. I might tell you afterwards. But he said, can you ask Barry John? Do himself and John and John Egan ever go out in the jet skis?
Not yet.
All right, okay. He wanted to know who went on the front and who was going on the back when you were going out on the jet skis.
Well, I won't be going on the tube anyway. Anyone I've run out is going on the back of the tube. Jesus Christ, his career be over. His career be over if I put him on the back of the tube.
That's right, yeah. Your insurance wouldn't cover it anyway. One or two quick things before we wrap it up there, just small out things, but things that the two of us I know are interested in. Shoes. You're a big sneakerhead.
Big.
I even saw there now the last day the Jordans that you had out the golf course, the Air Jordans. What's the most recent pair of shoes you got actually? What did you splashed out on?
Most recent there, no, I have 2 coming now in the post. They're taking their time.
Where are they coming from?
They're coming from, one's from England and one's from America.
Are they what, Nikes?
Both Nikes, yeah.
Yeah.
To be honest, man, I don't actually have a favorite shoe. If I like the shoe, it could, if it's even an ASIC, if it's Reebok, Nike, it doesn't make a difference. I probably have more Nike than anything else, but I'm a compulsive buyer. Straight away, if I see some, bang.
And do you keep them or do you sell any of them on? Because there'll be a lot of people on adverts and stuff like that.
No, I've OCD. One wear, if there's a mark on them, straight into the pillowcase into the washing machine, they're brand new again.
And if there's a mark on them, you can't get them off. And even if no one can see it, but you can see it, you can't wear it anymore.
I've had a lot of them now, and I give them to the boys. My buddies be the same size as me. I say, take them away there, boys. I can't be looking at them.
Your head's wrecked from it.
Wrecked.
Yeah. And football boots, actually. What sort of football boots? Will Nikes or Adidas, same thing?
No, I have a skinny foot, so the last 2 years I've been wearing blackout Under Armour. Nice boot.
Yeah.
Nice boot. Not many actually wear Under Armour now. I remember Keane Young was sponsored by them years ago. And but they're gone off the radar now. I remember Rory O'Carroll was an ambassador for them as well for Dublin. There was a few, but not many are wearing them anymore. But I say it was during COVID. The boots were €260, and what site was it? M&M Direct, one of the boys sent it on to me, said there's a few nice boots there. I had a look. The boots I paid $260 for anyway about 3 months beforehand were down to $60. So I think I ended up. I think I bought 5 pairs of them. They'll see me out anyway. They might see my young fellow out as well after.
They might. What favorite football boot that you've ever had? Actually, the most comfortable, the best boot, your favorite boot that you ever played football in?
As a forward, you probably say your favorite boot is the boot you score the most in.
Yeah, okay, fair enough.
The nicest boot, and I have 2 pairs of them. I have one fresh at home that I paid big money for, and the other then I actually had them in size 8.5, and I swapped Mark O'Shea for them in 9.5. I don't know, he wanted to give them to a young fella, and he gave me a fresher pair, but I've worn them 3 or 4 times since. Would be the 2002 Manias.
All beautiful.
Yeah, so I have them at home.
They're more black and red.
Black and red, and I have silver ones as well. But my buddy was in Australia a few years ago, and he was working on a job in construction, and he seen this fella throwing a pair of the grey Predators with the red tongue and red studs into the bin, into a skip. He goes, "Here, man, I've money here for you." And he was like, "Sorry, mate." He goes, "Yeah, I'll buy you them." He goes, "They're worth nothing, man." He threw them in. He goes, "Yeah, they're not worth nothing." He took them in. He brought them on. So he gave it to me. I went down to the cobbler and fixed them up. But I actually blacked them out. I sprayed them black, but they'll probably be given to Leo. They're a bit just too small for me, but they're nice. They're nice.
Beautiful. You'd no superstitions or anything like that. You have to wear the same pair of socks. You have to wear a pair of gloves. You have to anything.
To be honest, I did when I was with Kerry. Like, I'd like to have the bag packed, but no, man, I just Sometimes you can take it too serious, and like, I don't know. I think you play better when you're more laid back and just once you've the work done, it'll just go ahead. Like I remember, we found out maybe a year later Remember the replay in Limerick against Mayo in 14. James got 2-6. I think he got 3 from play. Remember, he got 2 penalties.
Yeah. Did he get 2 penalties?
The match. He got 2 penalties, and
then the goal as well. He got the goal in the last second as well, didn't he?
No, he got 2 penalties. Yeah, that was the first day. That was the first day.
He
got the goal. The second day, he got 2 penalties. He forgot his boots, so he was wearing Declan O'Sullivan's boots when he kicked 2-6.
Really? What? Were they the same size?
I say they could have been a little bit too big.
They might have been half the size.
It didn't matter on the day. Adidas Pure, he was wearing those black and orange ones. They're lovely.
When did he realise that he'd forgotten the boots, opening the bag inside the stadium?
Didn't tell no one. But when we were actually just going out, he stopped on, got the ankle strap, looked the bag, not there, looked over. I said, Declan O'Sullivan, a spare pair, threw him on, and off he went.
Nightmare.
I couldn't do that. I couldn't do that now back then. I'd have to break him in and everything.
That could have thrown a lot of fellas.
Oh, 90%, I say. 90%.
It didn't throw him that year anyway. He was deadly that year. Unfortunately, we don't know what the situation is. I don't know if he'll ever be back. I don't know.
Time will tell.
Time will tell. I'd love to see it for him. I think a lot of people would love to see him be able to get back playing football again.
Yeah, the football's there. The football's there, but as you get older, probably the injuries and the niggles take more out of you. He just needs a run of games and just hopefully the body doesn't break down. But like mentally, it has to suffer as well. Like trying to put so much effort in to get fit and then bang, hit a wall.
Yeah.
Try to get fit again, get form, break into a team, and then just the body breaks down. Like you lose, but you probably lose love for the game. You probably lose, you fall out of love like for the game, like, you know.
It just wears him down mentally, like.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I wouldn't wish it on anyone, but I suppose this is parcel of sport, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%, man.
You can be unlucky. You didn't have too many injuries.
No, touch wood. I met Keane there about 11 years ago up in the Hartman's clinic. I was close enough to probably get glandular fever. I was doing too much at the time, and he gave me the stretching program, and he taught me one stage I'm overdoing it. I do it every day without fail. If I went out for a night out and I was dying sick the next day, I remember we were in New York in 2011, and I was rooming with Peter Crowley, and I was actually they took my 2 ropes off me in customs, which is fair enough. They might have thought there was something going to happen on the flight, but a pair of jeans, Crowley's jeans. I was taking Crowley's jeans, doing my stretching program. He's looking at me like, he goes, "You're not well at all, man."
Speaking of flights, were you on that flight with Bomber?
I was.
And your man.
It was probably my fault.
It was probably your fault. Is right. Go on, quick. There
was another fella, Dave Moran. Dave Moran's buddy was there as well. He was with us, and I was sitting next to him. And we were a bit seedy, It was a good stag, 2 days of it, and the Bomber was at the front. And Bomber will be my club now here at home. And Bomber and Ogie were at the front, and sure we're getting a great kick out of them all weekend. And me and Dale, the fella I was with, the small fella, we kept on roaring, "Go on, the Bomber!" And he looked back, and he'd be looking to see who was saying it. And we had him cracked up anyway, and he was loving it. But the old hostess, she was Welsh. She didn't have a clue of anything to do with GA. So we kept on doing it, and someone came down and said, "Please, sir, will you cannot be saying that." And I was like, "What?" She was like, "Yes, you're mentioning the word bomb." And I was like, "No, I'm calling Bomber there." She's like, please, stop saying it. And I goes, "That's his name." And she got someone else down. So we pulled in anyway. We were all had to stay on the plane. And Bomber wanted to load off the plane. And we all went in. And we were explaining ourselves. I goes to some fella inside who was checking the passports. I goes, "Come here. On the Bomber listings inside there, they won't leave mark." My man's eyes lit up. He goes, the Bomber. And I was like, "I'm not allowed to say that again." She told me. I goes, "Yeah, own listed." My man ran in anyway. I say he got a photo, he got an autograph. He was delighted. It was like if I'd been released from jail for something he didn't do, bringing him out off the airport, and we all waited from clapping. But brilliant.
You couldn't make that one up.
No, they had to ring ahead and everything, and then they apologised. But I suppose, look, they had to cover their own. So that's their job as well. Like, looking out for all that stuff. But no, that's true. Every word of that is true. Every word of that is true.
I wouldn't doubt it. All right. Well, look, we'll wrap it up there. Thanks a million for coming on, Barry John. Gentlemen.
No,
we'll talk to you soon.
See you soon. Be good.
Cheers. That's it now, son. That's done.
We good?
Yeah, we're good now. I can cut that off and I'll edit it and I'll stick it up next week.
No bother.
Sound out, Barry John. That's who you playing. Who you playing at the weekend?
Dingle.
Good. When's that? Saturday or Sunday?
Sunday now the Scal final.
Oh, it'll be on Kerry Radio, will it?
I say it'll be on Sky.
It'll be on Sky. It's fuck. You caught me there. Fuck it. Sky Arena, box office. Fuck it. Here, good luck with that anyway. I'll be talking to you soon.
Be good.
Thanks a million, man. Sound.
No bother.
Bye-bye.